10 incredible oldest aircraft still in use. The military still relies on some remarkably old yet incredibly effective gear. Discover the top 10 time-tested machines that still rule the skies and battlefields. Some of the antiquated equipment is still in use because it functions exceptionally well, and as of yet, there has been no superior alternative. In other instances, endeavors to replace the apparatus have failed, typically as a result of factors such as cost or complexity. We identified 10 examples that are among the eldest still in operation, ranging from the venerable B-52 bomber to the stalwart C-5 Galaxy transport. Continuous enhancements maintain their relevance for defense strategies despite their age. Number 10. Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. The C-5 Galaxy is the largest military transport aircraft in the U.S. Air Force fleet and is recognized worldwide for its exceptional carrying capacity. The U.S. Air Force presently owns and operates 52 of these aircraft, which were first introduced in the early 1970s. It can travel 2,150 nautical miles, offload and land at a second base that is 500 nautical miles from the original destination, all without requiring aerial refueling. With a cargo burden of 281,000 tons. With aerial refueling, the aircraft's range is solely constrained by the crew's endurance. The aircraft has been operational for more than 50 years and remains indispensable in strategic transport operations. The C-5M Super Galaxy is an upgraded version of the aircraft that has been modernized with new engines and avionics. It is expressly designed to extend the aircraft's service life to 2040 and beyond. Number 9. Grumman C-2 Greyhound. The Northrop Grumman built C-2 Greyhound made its inaugural flight on November 18, 1964, and was subsequently employed by the U.S. Navy in 1966. The C-2 Greyhound is a critical logistic support aircraft that is primarily responsible for transporting high-priority cargo, critical aircraft parts, and passengers to deployed carrier strike groups. Commander Beth Teach, a spokesperson for the Commander of Naval Air Forces, stated that there are currently 15 C-2 Greyhounds in service to support logistics and personnel transfers on the east and west coasts, as well as deployed aircraft carriers in the U.S. 5th and 7th fleets. Nevertheless, the Navy intends to terminate all Greyhounds by 2026 and replace them with CMV-22B Ospreys, which will significantly reduce their lifespan. Number 8. Hughes OH-6 Cayuse. The OH-6 Cayuse, which was initially flown in February 1963, was introduced into service in September 1966. It achieved 23 world records in the categories of altitude, distance, and speed. The Cayuse was Hughes' most enduring helicopter program, and during the Vietnam War, as many as 100 of these helicopters were constructed in a single month. Initially referred to as LOACH, which was a reinterpretation of its acronym, it was subsequently renamed Cayuse. The helicopters were also referred to as killer eggs when they were equipped for combat, and they were also known as the flying eggs. The MH-6 Little Bird, which is still in service today, is the contemporary name for the OH-6 variants that are flown by the U.S. Army Special Operations Forces. Number 7. Northrop Grumman E-2 Hawkeye. The E-2 Hawkeye, manufactured by Northrop Grumman, is the Navy's all-weather, carrier-based tactical battle management, airborne early warning, command and control aircraft. The E-2 is a high-wing turboprop aircraft with a 24-foot diameter radar rotodome that is affixed to the upper fuselage. It is a twin-engine aircraft with 5 crew members. There are numerous nicknames for the E-2 Hawkeye. It is frequently referred to as the Super Fud due to its replacement of the Willy Fud, and it is also frequently dubbed the Hummer due to the distinctive sounds of its turboprop engines. The E-2, which was developed in the 1950s, was first flown in 1960 and entered service in 1964. Remarkably, the E-2 remains in production, with the most recent E-2D variant, even though over 400 aircraft have been constructed across all variants. At present, there are no intentions to replace the current E-2D Advanced Hawkeye by the U.S. Navy. It is anticipated that the Hawkeye will not be replaced until after 2040. Number 6. Boeing CH-47 Chinook. Chinooks have been the Army's heavy-lift helicopter for over 60 years, having been in service since 1962. The Chinook has established a career of performing the unimaginable, whether it is flying in harsh combat conditions, transporting cargo and soldiers, or conducting humanitarian missions. It is one of the fastest helicopters in the U.S. inventory, capable of attaining a maximum speed of 196 miles per hour, and is huge, quick, and reasonably durable. The CH-47s, which were manufactured by the Boeing Company, have been upgraded over the years and are anticipated to continue in service with the Army for decades to come. Patrick Surface, Boeing's senior manager of CH-47 Chinook business development, is unequivocal in his assertion that the Chinook will be at least a century old. It will continue operating and performing for the United States and its allies well beyond 2060. Number 5. Bell A-1 Iroquois. The Huey, a nickname for the Bell A-1 Iroquois, is a helicopter that is renowned for its distinctive sound and its extensive involvement in the Vietnam War. It is one of the most iconic helicopters in the world. In the mid-1950s, Bell developed the potent helicopter, which produced more than 16,000 units between 1955 and 1976. Of these, more than 7,000 were deployed in Vietnam. It became operational with the United States Army in 1959. The aircraft were predominantly employed for aerial attacks, medical evacuations, and the transportation of troops and cargo. In 2016, the U.S. military officially retired the final UH-1. However, there are allegations that the U.S. military continues to operate newer versions of the helicopters. 3 versions of the Huey are still operational: the UH-1N Huey, which is in service with the U.S. Air Force, the UH-1Y Venom, and the AH-1Z Viper, both of which are in service with the Marine Corps. The Marines anticipate that these aircraft will continue to be in service for years to come, even though they have undergone substantial revisions from their initial production models. Number 4. Boeing KC-135. For more than 6 decades, the Boeing KC-135 Stratotanker has been the foundation of the U.S. Air Force's aerial refueling fleet, a versatile aircraft that is essential in expanding the operational range of military jets, allowing them to conduct long-range missions without the necessity of frequent refueling pauses. The KC-135 Stratotanker is equipped with aerial refueling booms and sufficient internal fuel storage to transfer up to 200,000 obs of fuel, which is sufficient to entirely refuel over 15 F-16 Fighting Falcons. These aircraft are equipped with 2 external fuel tanks. As indicated by the KC-135 fact document, the U.S. Air Force continues to maintain an inventory of nearly 400 Stratotankers. In June 1957, the KC-135 was introduced into service. Currently, it is difficult to fathom that this aircraft has been in operation for nearly 7 decades and is expected to continue to operate until it reaches nearly 100 years of age. Number 3. Lockheed C-130 Hercules. As the C-130 prepares to enter its 8th decade of service, retirement appears to be a distant prospect. Therefore, it is reasonable to anticipate that the cargo aircraft will continue to operate for decades. Slowly but surely, the C-130 has achieved the status of its namesake. It is a legend in the realm of military aviation. The C-130 was certified by the United States in 1956, and it was subsequently adopted by Australia and numerous other countries. The Hercules has been involved in a multitude of humanitarian aid, military, and civilian operations during its tenure of service. The C-130 is the longest continuously produced military aircraft, with a production span exceeding 60 years. Lockheed Martin has reported that over 2,500 C-130s have been ordered and or delivered to 63 countries worldwide. C-130s, which have been manufactured in over 70 distinct variants, are currently in operation in 70 countries. Number 2. Lockheed U-2, a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. The U-2 is capable of flying at 70,000 feet over a target with an operational radius of approximately 1,700 miles. The aircraft was initially introduced into service in 1956 and subsequently conducted flyovers of the Soviet Union, which provided the Department of Defense with a wealth of valuable intelligence. Nevertheless, the Soviets ultimately destroyed one with surface-to-air missiles in 1960, thereby effectively terminating the flyovers. The platform continued to provide services to the Central Intelligence Agency despite this incident. To preserve its competitive advantage, the U-2 has implemented numerous upgrades over the years. The Air Force's entire U-2 fleet was equipped with electro-optical reconnaissance system sensors in 2020. Beale Air Force Base in California is the current location of the Air Force's 27 U-2s, which are rotated among military installations worldwide. Number 1. Boeing B-52 Stratofortress. The B-52, a long-range bomber capable of conducting strategic missions without relying on advanced and intermediate bases controlled by other countries, was designed and constructed by Boeing during the early stages of the Cold War. The bomber is capable of transporting a weapons payload of up to 70,000 tons and is equipped with the versatility to deliver munitions across a wide range of target ranges, which is truly impressive. In April 1952, the Stratofortress made its inaugural flight, and it was commissioned into service in February 1955, less than 3 years later. Due to its massive size, its length is 159 feet 4 inches, and it has a wingspan of 185 feet, and the fact that it can't be described as a handsome aircraft, it quickly earned the nickname BUF Big Ugly Fat Fella. A total of 744 B-52s were produced in Seattle, Washington, and Wichita, Kansas, culminating in the B-52H model last delivered in 1962. Currently, there are 76 in the U.S. Air Force inventory. The B-52, a long-serving aircraft in the U.S. Air Force, has maintained its importance through continuous upgrades. Recently, a significant modernization effort has been initiated, focusing on replacing the original 1960s-era Pratt & Whitney TF-33 engines with new Rolls-Royce-made F-130 engines. This $2.6 billion initiative, known as the Commercial Engine Replacement Program, aims to convert the B-52H into the B-52J. The Air Force expects flight tests for the first B-52G to begin in late 2028. This modernization effort is not limited to engine upgrades. The B-52 will also receive new radar systems, communications and navigation equipment and weapons, ensuring its credibility and capability well into the 2050s. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one.